Many thanks for joining us. This is Qtv News and I am Ajibinto Drame. The main local, international and sports news headlines. National Assembly members on Thursday ended the debate on the President's State of the Nation address, raising concerns that were later addressed by the Vice President. The Ministry of Information and Communications at its weekly press conference has announced implementation of a series of government infrastructure development projects and financial support for state-owned institutions and others whose business activities are impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff of GT Bank staged a sit-down strike on Thursday about what they say are concerns over the bank's promotion policies, pay and career development. The United Purpose has launched the orange flesh sweet potato and biofortified pearl millet and cake in the country. In international news, more than 200 naked convicts are on the run in Uganda after they escaped from prison before stripping off and sprinting into the wilderness. And in sports, the United Nations on Wednesday held a meeting on using sports as a tool to prevent violent extremism. Those were our main headlines, and now the local news in detail. Stay tuned. And now to local news. National Assembly members on Thursday ended the debate on the President's State of the Nation address. In a marathon session, lawmakers gave their divergent reaction to the President's speech, to which the country's Vice President listened and later addressed concerns raised. Babu Kasi reports.
The debate comes after the President appeared before parliamentarians last week and, among other things, mainly blamed the coronavirus pandemic as the reason for his government's inability to execute most of its development plans for 2020. According to him, this led to a devastating downturn in the national economy. Reacting to the President's marathon speech, parliamentarians took turn to point out their concerns on the different topics identified. The National Assembly member for Nyamina East, Omar Sise, described the President's State of the Nation address as a mere report.
We were expecting, of course, the President to give us plans, policy and program of the government so as for the honorable members to know what is going to be the policy of the year, that's 2020. But all that, of course, I have seen is like the President is just reporting to the state.
In response, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, refuted this.
It is not a report. If it is about reporting of the executive, that is all the ministries giving a report, we will be dealing with almost 5,000 pages. So I want to make it very clear here that it is not a report. It's an address, a statement that tries to capture and encapsulate everything that was provided by the various ministries.
Other National Assembly members raised concerns and questions from the President's State of the Nation address, ranging from health, post-COVID recovery, the economy, fisheries and agriculture, among other issues the President touched on during his speech.
Fisheries is a key revenue earner in the Gambia. And that's true, fisheries is a key earner in this country. But mentioning the amount of 178 million being generated from this fishery sector, that is from the EU. The EU has given us this amount. How much are they going with?
What is the plan of the government towards the recovery of the economy? Because it's important. We all know that something has happened. So what plan did they have? Because we are expecting to see this in the President's speech.
Vice President Toure took time to respond to the questions one by one in a marathon speech where she acknowledged that there are some gaps, but they are doing their best to satisfy the nation in difficult circumstances.
We may not be perfect, but quite a number of people have acknowledged that fertilizer, they've received their fertilizer. Some received it on time, some it was a bit late, and you have raised those issues. That's a fact. That's the reality on the ground. We have to acknowledge it. If we are ready to go to the sea, but let us face it, how are going to the sea? Who are going to the sea? Are they Gambians? That's the question I want to throw out. Are they Gambians? How many projects before us, you and I, this government, sit here, have been made to encourage Gambians to go into artisanal fisheries? The taboos attached to them has made Gambians not want to go, and they will tell you that this is not ours. This is not, there are people who are meant for that, who are crafted for that. This government's primary interest and aim is to promote and improve the health systems so that women's health and all other health as a right, it is a right, it's a human rights issue. It's not something taken for granted. Everything that has to do with reproductive health is a right.
The adjournment debate, which lasted for more than 12 hours, brings to an end the State of the Nation address question and answer sessions between lawmakers and the Vice President. Responding on behalf of the President, Babukar C, Qtv News.
The Ministry of Information and Communications at its weekly press conference has announced implementation of a series of government infrastructure development projects and financial supports for state-owned enterprises, institutions, local councils and others whose business activities are impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Among other things, the government has also announced preparation to reopen the country's airport for the tourist season. Mudulamin Choi has more.
After Parliament approved an over $2 billion supplementary appropriation bill in July as an additional sum for government services for the year 2020, the Ministry of Finance has announced payments close to $700 million from the supplementary appropriation for the building out of government institutions, state-owned enterprises, the tourism industry, electricity project, road constructions, and the media.
So far, support has been extended to the following. 1. Full payment of $91.2 million made from the months of August to September for the bailing out of public enterprises, that is payment of their 3-month salaries for the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, Gambia International Airlines, Gambia Maritime Agency, and GAMPost. 2. Full payment of $5.6 million made in the months of August and September for the settlement of the Gambia Tourism Board operational license for the hospitality industry. From this Saturday to a few weeks ahead, President Adama Barrow will be launching and laying foundation stones for development projects at rural communities. These include laying foundation for construction of Basse Market, Jara Soma and Farafenya markets, construction of the 24-kilometer road of Senegambie Road corridor from Kir Ayib to Senoba and others. On the 3rd of October, the President will lay the foundation stone for the construction of the Basse Market, which was ravaged by fire in February 2020. Contracts for the construction of the new state-of-the-art Basse Market have already been awarded to 2 local construction firms to the tune of over $70 million, funded entirely by the government of the Gambia. Other foundation stones for road construction to be laid by the President within the next 3 weeks include the 10-kilometer Baikunda access road, the Ker Aldu and to Ker Jimbala road, and Gen Sanjal road. All these roads are funded by the government of the Gambia. As part of plans to relax the COVID-19 restrictions on our economy, the Gambia government is preparing for the reopening of Banjul International Airport by the end of October for the start of the 2020-2021 tourist season. According to the Minister of Information, this plan will be implemented with strict COVID-19 preventive measures. The Infobis main terminal building will provide more space for both passengers and luggage handling at the arrival and departure halls, and will also have more space for offices, shops, and a VIP hall in the upper floor of the terminal. Similarly, the control tower of the airport has been refurbished and upgraded, fitted with installations and new communication gadgets for air traffic controllers. Communities around World Heritage Sites in the Gambia identified as affected by the economic impacts of COVID-19 are also to be supported through skills acquisition and peer exchange. This is to be facilitated through a partnership between the National Center for Arts and Culture and the German National Commission for UNESCO. While the coronavirus pandemic takes perilous effect on our economy, governments around the world are looking for means to recover from revenue losses by supporting public and private businesses. A trajectory our government seems to be taking, but with challenges to fully accomplish in the wake of business falls and closes and thousands of job losses at the private sector, the driving force of our economy. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, Qtv News.
The United Purpose on Thursday launched the orange flesh sweet potato and biofortified pearl millet and cake in the country. The EU-funded biofortification project aims to encourage and promote the consumption of enriched vitamins and nutrients. More in this report. Using orange flesh, sweet potato and biofortified pearl millet, baking them into bread and cake, The project is being done in collaboration with King Baker. This is the first time such nutritious products have been introduced in the Gambia, with the aim to increase enriched vitamin A, iron and zinc in our immune system by addressing the prevalence of malnutrition in the country. According to officials of United Purpose, the project has been nurtured for 4 years with 7 varieties of millet. A series of tests and trials were conducted in 178 gardens done within the country. At the launch, Usman Jammeh, project manager for the biofortification project, says 4,298 farmers participated, the majority whom were women. Bakers and members of the Mothers Club also benefited during the project to bring about a nutritional change.
Millet is a traditional crop in the country. Gambia has been cultivating millet since time immemorial. But the way it is milled is important. Traditionally, it is milled twice. By so doing, most of the brand is lost. Buy local, consume local, and promote local.
Modu Fall, the executive director of National Nutritional Agency NANA, hopes that these fortified products will be widely consumed. He adds that the problem of maternal death, especially recently, could be addressed by the consumption of fortified foods. He continues by encouraging more partners come on board to take the project to higher heights.
Yesterday, I saw women marching talking about Gambian women's life matters. But I can tell you, one of the major causes of maternal mortality in this country is lack of iron, is anemia. Now we look at non-pregnant women, aged between 15 to 49 years. 28% of them are also anemic and they have an iron deficiency anemia. But what about our pregnant woman, which leads immediately to giving birth? Among pregnant women, 56.8% of women are suffering from iron deficiency anemia. And this is a very serious problem.
Fanta Kongira, a member of Mothers Club, explains the importance of these products. Couscous and sweet potato give strength to kids and those suffering from kwashiorkor. It also helps in growth. Eating the potatoes will assist people with diabetes to regulate their sugar level. It also helps pregnant women to have strength during delivery. The event also featured a presentation explaining how to effectively make and bake pearl millet bread and orange flesh sweet potato cake.
First of all, you have to get your OFSP roots or tubers, as we normally call it, and then you wash them until it is clean. After washing the tubers, you have to steam it. You should not boil, because the executive director of NANA has spoken on that. When you boil it, you might lose some of the micronutrients that are needed. Then you make it on mass. So if you get 1 kilo of the mass OFSP.
The United Purpose Program Coordinator Ismaila Jaju commended the National Agricultural Research Institute, NARI, the European Union and other partners for their laudable efforts. Staff of GT Bank staged a sit-down strike on Thursday about what they say are concerns over the bank's promotion policies, pay and career developments. Omar P. Jallo tells us more.
According to GT Bank staff, who vowed that they will not return to work unless their demands are met, the nationwide strike was effective, although we were not able to independently verify this. The strike apparently affected the bank's nationwide operation, especially for customers unable to carry out financial transactions. Speaking to QTV at the bank's head office along Carava Avenue, Dudu Bojang, the head of corporate affairs at GT Bank, said there had been prior communication between management and staff on their demands, which include, among other things, the acknowledgement and approval of staff promotion for this year. According to Bojang, the GT Bank management cites the negative impact of COVID-19 as a factor preventing staff promotion.
I want management to look at their promotions and appraisal issues within the bank, which are key components of kind of staff management in the bank. And according to what I see them in a document they have written, they also want management to reconsider their decision on a particular kind of reimbursement they call the PIP, performance induced kind of payment, and plus so many other things that they want management to sort out.
Abi Bojang, a GT Bank customer, said the problem between the bank's employees and management is negatively affecting the customers, which is not good for the bank's reputation.
I came to the bank this morning to be informed that the staff are on strike. They never gave us prior notice about the strike. If this continues, we will suffer because we all have our money in the bank. In fact, I am here to collect fees money for my family.
Dudu Bojang also adds that the 9 July 2020 standoff was resolved through the intervention of the Deputy Governor of Central Bank. He adds that the staffs were hopeful that the promise by the Central Bank DG to take care of the issue would be a solution to their demands.
On July 9th, Central Bank came here, you remember? And I think it's on record that they promised to intervene and to solve the issue. So by and large, you can take that to mean engagements have been going on.
Despite the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect the social and economic livelihood of all people, GT Bank staff believe that the effects should not be an excuse to deny them promotion. QTV makes several attempts to speak to GT Bank General Manager on the number we were assured was the correct one, but we were unable to get a response. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
We'll go with a short commercial break, and when we come back, the news continues with more international, local and sports news. Do stay tuned. And welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV News. And now, still on local news, residents of Sukuta, Kingston and Senchuwuri are rejoicing following the inauguration of 2 new boreholes in their respective communities, sponsored by Taiba Welfare Foundation. More in this report.
Last month, the community of Sukuta Kingston revealed to QTV details of the unbearable water shortages they have had to endure, stating that the only time they can access water is between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., a time when they should be sleeping. Now, their water woes appears to be over, thanks to the intervention of Taiba Welfare Foundation, a charity based in the UK. During the inauguration of one of the boreholes at Sukuta Kingston, the PRO of Sukuta Kingston Development CAFO, Bekai Suso, explains how the whole campaign started.
We suffered a lot before this project came in. But when this project came, we realized that there are a lot of good people out there who wish great things for this community. This event started on the 24th of August, on one fine Monday, when we all, called QTV when they came, and this event was demonstrated at one of our sources of water. That is where we demonstrated this issue. That was on Monday, and on Thursday, this project stepped in. We are very happy to receive this project, to receive this donor from Madam Huda. We are very much thankful.
Representing the women in Sukuta Kingston, Mai Dafe says the women are happy because they bear most of the responsibility to fetch and bring water to their households. Inaugurating the second borehole at Senchuwuri, Imam Babukar Jallo praised the foundation for coming to their aid, stating that access to water has been among their biggest challenges.
Am nañ problème ndox lu ñuy naan amuñu teen yi duñ dé am ndox su démé ba noor.
We have problems to access clean drinking water. The wells run dry, especially during the rainy season. Our women suffer a lot, but we thank God now that our problem is solved. The chairperson of Taiba Welfare Foundation, Alhaji Taib Cham, explains the aims and objectives of the foundation.
Taiba Welfare Foundation, ben mbotay bo xamné ni jubluwaayam yëpp mooy ngir dimbale Gambians yi nga xam ne nii am nañ jafe-jafe ndox.
Taiba Foundation helps communities that face water crisis and other problems. On this, we are handing over a 3,000-litre capacity water tank to the community of Sinthiou Wuri. The founder of Taiba Welfare, Alaji Taib Mustafa Cham, revealed that the idea of sponsoring the borehole at Sukuta was considered when his 13-year-old son Ibrahim felt bad about seeing the story on QTV and appealed to him to help the community. He added that his son finds it hard to understand that water, which is vital for life and readily abundant in the UK, is scarce in some parts of the Gambia. The borehole project for Sukuta Kingston was sponsored by a philanthropist, Huda Mohamed Omar Jamjoun, and the one at Sinthiou Wuri was sponsored by Usama Al Mukhtar through Taiba Welfare Foundation. Babkar Sise, QTV News.
2 suspected criminals have been arrested by the anti-crime unit of the Gambia Police Force at various locations in the Greater Banjul area. As Omar P. Jallo reports, the suspects are currently helping the police with their investigations. Loli M. Kamara reports.
Police displayed items allegedly stolen by the suspects. They include flat-screen TVs, motorcycles, and car batteries, amongst other valuables. The suspects are Jibril Baji and Ahmad Tijan Balde, who are both 19 years old. The duo are charged with stealing and conspiracy to commit felony. The public relations officer of the Gambia Police Force, Lamin Jai, said 5 rightful owners of the motorbikes have been identified.
Crime Unit 2 its efforts in collecting intelligence on crime are able to get information that they are involved in stealing of motorbicycles around the Greater Banjul area and selling them elsewhere. And so the police and the crime unit's intelligence department decided to work on this information. They investigated until they were able to arrest these 2 individuals, and then they interrogated them and took time to interview them on series of occasions until they were able to get confessions and information from them about the whereabouts of these motorcycles. As you can see, there are 6 motorcycles that have been recovered so far, and these motorcycles have been recovered at different places within Foley and other places within the Gambia as well. And so the motorcycles are currently with the police anti-crime unit. Investigations have also been expanded to get to know who are the owners of these motorcycles. And so far, we've got about 5 individuals who have come forward to identify this motorcycle. One of the motorbikes is still unidentified, and so by this report, we hope that members of the public who are observing and also following on this report will be able to come forward and see if they can identify the 6 motorbikes so that we can be able to establish a case on that motorbike as well.
According to PRO, the anti-crime unit was established to help minimize the crime rate in the country and encourage the public to always report issues and share information with the police.
That they have broken into a house at Java where they stole those flat-screen televisions. Now, people who are within the areas of Java as well, they can come forward to the police and the crime unit, see if they can identify these televisions as theirs. And also, we want to report that we have previously got about 29 flat-screen televisions that are already with the police and the crime unit here. Televisions that have been recovered from various cases of housebreaking and stealing situations. And so the members of the public can also come forward to see if they can identify these flat screens as well.
The police PRO ASP Lamin Jai thanked the public for helping the police by sharing information, which in some cases helped the police to effect arrest. He also advised the public not to buy stolen properties because it is a crime. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
We will take another short break and we continue with international and sports news when we return.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. Ifa Kanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and now to international news. More than 200 naked convicts are on the run in Uganda after they escaped from prison before stripping off and sprinting into the wilderness. The escapees, who have been described as hardcore criminals, abandoned their yellow uniform to avoid being spotted. Marie-Louise Nsanyang reports.
Forces in Uganda are hunting 219 inmates in Uganda who escaped on Wednesday afternoon in the region of Karamoja. This is the third jailbreak since the outbreak of the pandemic in Uganda. The prisoners are on a run in a bid to flee constricted conditions in jail. The military has already killed 2 escapees, according to the police spokesperson. Uganda's prison service, working with the police and the army, with support from ground and air assets, have been deployed to arrest the inmates. 3 others were recaptured, but the rest are on the run. The prisoners stole 15 AK-47 guns and ammunition, including 20 magazines, before escaping. During the outbreak, the guard on duty was overpowered. The number of prisoners in Uganda went up by 10% in 5 months, reaching a total number of 65,000 prisoners, most of whom are arrested in line with the coronavirus regulations, such as breaking curfew or travel restrictions. Marie-Louise Nsanyang for Qtv News.
And now to some interesting sports news. The United Nations on Wednesday held a meeting on using sports as a tool to prevent violent extremism. The program is expected to benefit law enforcement, public and private companies involved in organizing sport events. Momodu Gajaga has more.
Topics discussed included, amongst other things, the role of athletes in promoting dialogue and preventing violent extremism, youth engagement in sports and preventing crime and violent extremism, PCVE programs, and the engagement of sports bodies and federations in sports, and PCVE. This historic framework is aimed at achieving the following: increase member states' awareness of terrorism-related threats against vulnerable targets in the context of major sporting events, use sport and its values as a tool to build resilience, especially among youth, prevent violent extremism, increase the ability of member states to prevent and counter threats against major sporting events. A significant component of the UN Office of Counter-Terrorism and its partners' work will be devoted to promoting sport and value as an important tool to prevent radicalization and violent extremism conducive to terrorism. Violent extremism remains a threat to sports. Many youth are radicalized online, but sports can be used as a tool to raise awareness in preventing extremism. Mamoudou Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we end this bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. National Assembly members on Thursday ended the debate on the President's State of the Nation address, raising concerns that were later addressed by the Vice President. The Ministry of Information and Communications at its weekly press conference has announced implementation of a series of government infrastructure development projects and financial supports for state-owned institutions and others whose business activities are impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff of GT Bank staged a sit-down strike on Thursday about what they say are concerns over the bank's promotion policies, pay and career developments. The United Purpose has launched the orange flesh sweet potato and biofortified pure millet and cake in the country. To international news, more than 200 naked convicts are on the run in Uganda after they escaped from prison before stripping off and sprinting into the wilderness. And in sports, the United Nations on Wednesday held a meeting on using sports as a tool to prevent violent extremism. That's all we have for you in this bulletin of the news. Join us tomorrow for another news. Bye for now.